I've played a lot of Sonic games, so I've listened to a lot of Sonic music. Very often the soundtrack of any given game is the one thing the fanbase can agree on as being a positive part of that game. So I've decided to tell the whole internet, objectively, what the 30 best Sonic tracks of all time are. From the games, not the movies or the shows or whatever. If I were counting those, then this would win.
Sonic Underground, Sonic Underground.
The vocals of His World are a bit hyper, but the rest of the track gives off that vibe that is a bit more serious Sonic than before, while still having that hyped up speedy drumming to represent, well, speed, I assume.
I remember memories from a long, long time ago.
The singer here is Donna Del Lori, and she has a beautiful, soothing voice. She's actually a fascinating figure I might cover in more detail soon. But let's talk about the song. This one gives me some end of an anime movie vibes. It's a really pretty tune with some nice arrangement behind it, and if it had a more popular character attached to it, I think the fanbase would cite this one as a top pick more often. This is a fun one. There's a lot of droney, cadency stuff reflecting it being more of a chill experience, but with the pulsing drums and stuff because it's a Sonic board game, not a Mario board game. Oh yeah, baby. I love this one because it has that constant feeling of ascension through that little ascending 3-note figure. That thing. But it's still really chill with grounded drums since it's a pretty slow auto-scroller level. You've got the industrial sounds for Omega, the dark timbres for Shadow, and those more static lines that remind me of sneakiness like Rouge. Maybe that's a stretch, but that's what my ears take in and that's what my mouth's putting out. The lyrics are obviously from Shadow's perspective. They reference the others, but let's be honest, Shadow's story was the most interesting out of any characters in the game. This was his big return after his quote-unquote death in Sonic Adventure 2, and the mystery of how he survived and where his memories went off to. I remember being super invested in this as a kid. And while the actual, kinda stupid reasoning is given in Shadow the Hedgehog, this was the game that had early 2000s kids hooked to his plot. This is a great hub world theme. It has this French vibe to it and it makes it feel like a relaxed yet exciting locale. Too bad it's actually this. This was the triumphant return of Crush 40 to the Sonic series after a little hiatus, and they showed they still had it. Honestly, it sounds a lot like Live and Learn from Sonic Adventure 2 in a few spots. I love this track and this level. Both of them combine to make something unlike the rest of Sonic Colors, as this is a nice open field while most of the other environments, and therefore music, are futuristic space amusement park themed. I just hate that announcer. He kills it for me every time.
Good! Great! Awesome! Outstanding! Amazing!
Yes, this sounds like a few Michael Jackson songs, and yes, the mashups with actual Michael Jackson songs are awesome, but on its own merits, this is a great track. It's got this hypnotizing repeated pattern that repeats very often, so then when something else comes in, it's really rewarding, and yeah, that's what a lot of Michael Jackson music does. It's only about 18 seconds long, but it's so good. It plays while you have invincibility in the game as well, and it's just so propelling and it mixes with invincibility perfectly. And as a title theme, that little rev up and octave leap with the death egg in the background is so perfect. This is my favorite Sonic Casino music because it reflects the fun of the vast location instead of doing the cheesy casino jazz thing. Don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, but I have real-life casinos for that. True story, I won $5 at my first real-life casino game, and I never played again, so I have a 100% win streak. I love that acid bass vibe. It's got bleepy bloop staccato sounds in there, yet that bass is musically reminiscent of that yucky purple water. Honestly, I mostly just love the riff. It's so industrial sounding and fun to listen to and play. But also, this was back when Eggman was actually somewhat threatening. Sonic Adventure 2 is my favorite portrayal of Eggman, and this is a good reflection of that. Eggman and Sonic, until the end of the game, are pretty static characters without much development. Sonic is ultimate good, and Eggman is ultimate evil. At least, again, until the end. Their character themes are fun because they don't have to reflect much about the character arcs, because they barely exist, so they can just be very focused and very fun. Sonic games almost always have great and memorable first level music. That said, I didn't really remember this one until I went back and listened to it separate from the game. Guess I blocked it out of my memory after getting glitched out in the water 100 times. One of the greatest video game earworms of all time. It really helped set the tone that this new 2D platformer mascot was not Mario, and was not really trying to be. You'd never hear a track like this in a Mario game. As an introduction to the Sonic world, I think this serves its purpose pretty much perfectly. That all being said, I like Sonic 2's first stage music a bit more. Not much more, but it just feels a bit more action-oriented to my ear. Honestly, it could also be the nostalgia talking, as this was the first Sonic game I remember playing. I was a Nintendo kid, but my cousin had a Genesis. I was Tails, and from then on, that little fox was my favorite video game character. Now this is the music for Rouge. It's so exotic and it really feels that way mainly because it's so vastly different from every other character theme. In Sonic X, you just had this sax that would come on every time she came on screen because a hot bat, I don't know, it just felt weird. This is a much more accurate depiction in my opinion. This is the hardest elevator music ever. It's so relaxing, but it also feels so vast with its little arpeggios and harmonic intricacies. It's like saying you have all of these games to choose from, all of this history to explore, but also take your time in deciding what to do. Perfect. America got a totally different Sonic CD soundtrack than Japan. Our music is a lot creepier, to be honest, and I prefer the original Japanese score overall, but I think we won out with the intro theme. I played this one all the time on Sonic Mega Collection on the GameCube, which for some reason didn't have the actual Sonic CD game, but just this intro cutscene. But that was enough for little me. The vibe kinda reminded me of the Sonic OVA, which I still have on VHS and watched all the time as a kid. That's the real original Sonic movie. It's also so cool to me how this modulates during the choruses, then returns to the original key during the verses. It just adds this little extra spice for those sections. Not a lot of songs do that. This is a track where the limitations of the hardware might have actually helped out. Without much memory to work with, you need a really good repeating pattern if you're going to have one. The result is actually my favorite Icy Sonic track ever. Some parts kinda remind me of the atmospheric nature of David Wise's Donkey Kong Country soundtracks, which contain some of the best video game music ever in my opinion. That drum intro is iconic, so fast, and obviously that's the most obvious way to musically portray Sonic, but it also helps set this game apart from the previous 3D games in the Adventure series. This one was a bit less plot-oriented and a bit more about the fun factor with its standard gameplay, removing the shooting and treasure hunting and all of that. When you hear Open Your Heart or Live and Learn, you could tell things are a bit more serious, but here, it's just kinda like go run, and occasionally sneak when you're Team Chaotix. A perfect combo of gentleness, excitement, and retro sounds for a game that is all about celebrating Sonic's 2D history. Hyper Potions is so good at this kind of music, and hearing this pop up towards the beginning of the first Sonic movie was a fun treat. You hear a short instrumental of this as the title screen music, and then it comes back in full force at the end of the game, with two hedgehogs battling a space lizard. That return lives on in many gamers' heads as a monumental moment in gaming. Crush 40's vocalist once said in an interview that he was unsure that his work on this song was good. I guess you could say he lived and learned. Oh boy.
Alright, I'm coming on the camera for this one. So this is one of those songs I would have got made fun of way back in the day, a little 2005 Mad or whenever this game came out, I don't remember. But I was walking around with my little CD Walkman listening to this song. This is a jam. This is the best song in Sonic Heroes. And people would have made fun of me for listening to it, but now they all listen to their like high-pitched J-pop anime ending themes because anime's cool for some reason. The whole world's flipped upside down on that stuff for some reason, but whatever. So I don't get a second of walking around with my little CD Walkman listening to this. This is a jam. This is the best song in Sonic Heroes.
While I think Eggman and Sonic being reasonably static characters in Adventure 2 works well for the game, I do like when characters develop a little, and Tails has a great arc in this game. This was before he became static too, in the form of a tech geek that flies once in a while and depends on Sonic for everything. Here he admires Sonic and wants to be more like him, but also does stuff about it instead of just being a coward, and through that, develops into his own kind of hero. The best lyrics here are, "There are things that only I can do, no one's alone." He's his own character, and he can do things that others can't, and they can do things that he can't. It's perfect. The Sonic Adventure 1 version of the song is good, but this one reflects the arc so much more, and has a much better ascent to it, which both physically and metaphorically applies to Tails. Sonic Colors is a very friendly Sonic game. Far gone from the implied hedgehog deaths of Adventure 2, it's just Sonic and Tails doing dumb humor with little alien guys. They have that little repeated pattern you hear throughout which sounds very extraterrestrial, and the effects on the vocals keep up with that feel, but you also have the pulsing drums which transition you to the chorus, which is a bit more traditional guitar-y bassy Sonic fare. It's a great combination of styles that works really well for this game. I prefer the adventure games when it comes to 3D Sonic, but if they're gonna go in this direction, this is the music I want to hear. This one's just legendary. It's like an invitation to the player to go with Sonic. That's how little kid me took it, because Sonic just jumped out of a helicopter and there was nobody else it could be about. What can I even say about the music? You hear it all. The bass line is the most funky fresh thing since the Funky Bunch. I know some people prefer the Generations version, but that one made some weird harmonic changes that don't get me as pumped as the original one. Again, the Sonic Adventure 1 version of this song is good, but the Sonic Adventure 2 version is just the one. As I touched on before, in most Sonic games, if anyone has development, it's usually not Sonic or Eggman. Sonic's character is mostly just static, heroic, cool, fast. Most mascots like Sonic can't go through that much development without the corporate heads going nuts. He kinda goes through some emotional stuff towards the end of the game, but for the most part, he's clear in his convictions and a pillar for all of the other characters to develop. The lyricism here is perfect for that. He'll never give up, he's gonna keep running, and he's just rock solid. Perfect. It has that little kid lullaby vibe, but also has the development and build-up of a more serious and thoughtful composition. There's so much that happens above that opening pattern, and then when you return to it just being that opening pattern once it loops back, it hits you how far the music has gone in that little amount of time. Which makes it all the worse when you hit the B button at the wrong time and chuck a chow across the garden. My number one sometimes flies under the radar because it's a remade version of a track from a game that isn't one of the most popular to the general audience. And to be honest, I mainly fell in love with this one through its inclusion in Super Smash Bros. More than anything. I like this version a lot better than the original from Sonic Unleashed. Not that the original is bad at all, it's not, but I like the contrasts here more. The opening of the original is just lots of guitar, and I love guitar, but in Generations, that opening riff is split between a few different instruments. And then you have the violins run up, and it really just reflects the opening of a Sonic level that uses the boost formula. After a little stretch, you start out slow, and then boom, you're speeding off into the distance. The melody is a lot clearer here as well, and it just gets you more pumped up, I think. Again, my 3D Sonic preferences lie with the adventure games way above the boost formula games. But they got the music right here. It's perfectly encapsulating of Sonic as a character, both personality-wise and in terms of his signature speed. I think you could plop this in pretty much any Sonic game and it would work, which I think is a powerful statement for a piece of music from such a famous franchise.
After making this, I realized I didn't put any of the Knuckles raps in there, and I probably should have, but you guys remember that one time the first Sonic movie trailer came out with that man-looking hedgehog thingy, and they played Gangsta's Paradise in the background of it for like no reason. It was like, that was so stupid.